What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away.
What's up, Internet? I'm Harry Van Dam. How was y'all's weekend? Mine was exactly how I pictured it. The entire weekend, just coughing up big brown things out of my nose, and it's not gotten any better. So I have a confession. Today I'm using a filter for the first time ever because I look like a Ren and Stimpy like close-up or a SpongeBob close-up. Like, you don't, I'm sparing y'all. It'll be gone tomorrow, but I needed it today because I look like crap. But I spent the weekend looking at some of the Epstein stuff, and it was thoroughly depressing, man. Thoroughly depressing. Even Tate, like the last video I did Friday, even Andrew Tate is trying to pretend like Trump is being like very transparent with all this. Like, we didn't have to get an act of Congress to get him to give us this, and he still fought it. And they're still redacting suspects. Why are you redacting suspect names? I thought that was what the whole act was supposed to fix. Didn't we get an act of Congress so you didn't redact suspect names? Yeah, I'm hoping Ro Khanna and Nasty do something about this, but nobody famous ever gets in trouble. You ever notice that? I'm noticing that trend that the elites never get in any trouble. It's just distraction. They'll talk about Obama or Hillary going to jail anytime they need to distract you. But do you ever see them in prison? No. And we know why. We know why now, because of the Epstein files. We know. But let me see. Today I'm wanting to do a couple of short ones because I really need to get back to bed, back to sleep. But I want to look at pretty much Andrew just destroying the rest of TimcastIRL. He's already done Tim pretty good a couple of times, and I think Tim learned, and now he's letting him just attack his underlings. So we're gonna look at one where he debates Ian Crossland, which is always funny. I like Ian. He's a hippie, but I can't take him seriously, but I like him because he took the place of Adam whenever Adam got booted for whatever reason. And the other one's going to be against the guy from the band. I forgot his name, but he's a pretty big famous guy now. He's on there every week. So let's get into it and just try and knock this out so I can get some sleep. There we go.
Flag is covered under the First Amendment. I think it's pretty clear that as much as like Christian values is what the United States is based on, that you can't make legislation about like that. You can't legislate morality.
Yeah, states did. When the country was far more Christian than it is now, they had blasphemy.
And I think you can legislate morality. I think it's fine.
I don't
all
think
legislation.
I think
you can
legislate anything that you start. If you start legislating morality, people are going to say, "Well, that's legislating religion." That's the argument they're going to use.
All laws are morality. Then no more murder laws, no more theft laws. No more, those are all moral laws and guidelines which are taken from Christian ethics. This idea,
marriage laws.
Well, yeah. First of all, we can legislate morality. We do, and we should. And protecting.
That's exactly what the left has been doing with.
Yeah, good. The thing is like, I know that they're doing that. It's good that we're finally fighting back.
And it works for them to a
It's
large
good.
degree.
We can take their tactics and use them back. I'm sorry the leftists can't burn our flags anymore. That's terrible. But I'll go die for the right to do it. That's stupid. That's always been stupid. And guess what?
That's not the argument that I'm making.
It doesn't work.
All.
It doesn't
It's not
work.
the argument that I'm making.
Well, what's the argument?
The argument that I'm making is you can't have, because of the First Amendment, you can't say, okay, we're going to legislate these religious tenets. Now, I understand the left actually has a religion when it comes to a lot of their ideology, and it actually behaves as a religion. And so they actually
have the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says that if the United States government can't do it, the states prospectively can. The United States government can't make a law that says there's national religion. That's it.
I strongly feel like that will be.
Almost all of our states had a religion.
Listen, I strongly feel like that will go to the Supreme Court, and the supremacy clause will kick in, and they'll say you can't do that.
You know what? A lot of people made that same argument about Roe v. Wade. It'll go to the Supreme Court, burn, it'll die, and it didn't. And you know what? They might repeal Obergefell. That's going to be great too.
Yeah, but
and
those are
the
different
whole merit there is
precedents,
going to be
though.
religious too.
Those are different precedents. The precedent that the Obergefell, I'm not even sure what precedent was for Obergefell, but the idea that you can pass a law that would in some way violate the First Amendment, they're gonna throw look, if a state decides they want to, then they can go ahead and try it and see what the Supreme Court says.
There's already been precedent in the Supreme Court for this being called a Christian nation. Right? It was what was it, Lovejoy, or I don't remember what the case was, but he literally said it's a Christian nation.
If they want to go to if someone wants to try it and go to the Supreme Court, then fine. Someone can try it, fine. I strongly believe the court will say no under the First Amendment.
Falls under the 10th,
you cannot pass.
I think if you make the argument it falls under the 10th Amendment, that you can do some legislative things.
Like I said, I think that they would say the Supremacy Clause says that the First Amendment is supreme.
I do think what we're arguing about here is a little bit past each other because of what Tate said earlier, right? That the people do matter. And even to your point, Phil, the Supreme Court justices matter, and the Supreme Court justices are chosen by the president, who is chosen nominally by the people of the states, and so the people matter, and it is going to come down to the reflections of the people. And so we can get into the nitty gritty of the 10th Amendment, the Supremacy Clause, et cetera, but which side is going to win? Yeah, and that will end up being the side that has had to stack the
Part
court.
of the reason why I would say that the Supremacy Clause would take precedent and that the First Amendment would protect people, would prevent states from doing it, is because the conservative justices, they don't always come down where you think they're going to come down. You can reliably pick what the progressive justices are how they're going to vote, right? They're always going to vote in line. Sotomayor and Kagan and what's her name, Kajenti Brown Jackson, they're gonna vote the same way all the time. But you can't reliably predict the other ones.
But at
the other ones,
time,
because why you shouldn't be making this prediction.
But in the past, you could.
That's why you shouldn't be making this prediction.
No, this is why you should. This is why you should be making the prediction, because they're not reliably conservative, or not reliable. Like, they're not reliable at all when it comes to conservatives, because the conservative justices, or the normal justices, right? The ones that are not ideologically possessed, they're the ones that actually will think about the question at hand.
Is that in the past you could,
right?
Like this wouldn't have been something that was contested.
Many precedents for your ability to do it. And look, I do understand the idea of government overreach. I was raised on this libertarian stuff, okay? The libertarian garbage. Hey, if we overreach, they're going to use it against us. They don't give a shit. They use everything against us anyway.
I just agreed with that point earlier tonight.
Libertarians are terrible. I don't think there's a libertarian in this room.
Yeah, so
I literally just agreed with that point earlier today.
Yeah, so I just say, like, no, it's a powerful symbol. And it needs to be protected. And I would like to see these people dragged off the street when they burn it, and I'd like to see their asses thrown in jail as an example for everybody else. That's what I want to see.
And this,
why can you do it? Why can you arrest somebody for burning a trans flag, but you can't for burning the American flag? How is one protected and one's not? That's my big issue with it.
this is how I feel about the people who did Operation Warp Speed and burning down cities during the riots. That was the most demoralizing thing. And a lot of those people were let out of prisons by Kamala Harris's staff and the bail money they were donating to
Absolutely.
Them. Yeah, no J6ers in prison, those guys in prison.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, that's I was going to segue at one point, but I think the symbol argument and the effect that it has on people, especially as a dad, if you take your kids to Washington, D.C., and you come in and you want to go to a museum or something, and you walk by a group of people and you say, especially if you come in Union Station, right? Union Station is where most people come to the city when they take the train, and we have to come in, and you see them right there, and that's why they do it at Union Station, by the way, all the time. And suddenly they're burning a flag. Mommy, Daddy, what are they doing? They're burning the American flag. Why isn't anyone stopping them? Mm-hmm. And then you have to sit there and try to explain to a child. I'm not saying I've done this, but you would have to sit there and then explain to the child that the flag that we teach them matters so much. Actually, there's something beyond that matters that you can't see and you can't touch, but it matters, and that's their right to burn. It falls apart.
It is insane,
and it completely falls apart.
From my view,
it's communist
totally backwards. And again, I do understand the overreach argument. I get it. But there's really not balance now. There's no balance anymore. We can't really balance everybody's different priorities because
they've already legislated hate crimes for
most of the laws we have on the books are moral laws. You can't explain to me how marijuana has been illegal for all the time that alcohol's been legal and tell me it's not a morality thing. Maybe a competition thing, I guess. I don't know. But there are a lot of laws that are just based on morality. And we do it all the time. So I don't know why we can't do it for the flag. We should protect the flag.
Burning their flags. They've already done this.
Yeah, they'll do whatever is necessary to achieve political power while we're arguing about whether or not we should protect basic
should
symbols.
we do something?
Yeah, should we do something?
Fight back? I don't know.
Yeah, we probably should.
It's like, do a burnout on a pride crosswalk. They'll yank you out of your car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's not acceptable either, though.
What, doing a burnout on a
No, the
pride
idea
crosswalk?
that you get yanked out of your car for.
Oh.
Yeah, but unless we put in the power of
They're
law
doing it,
and we
right,
show
Phil?
that we will utilize force the same way that they're willing to, that's all they respect. All they respect in the counter is force. That's why they put their finger in your face, say, I'm not touching you, but you can't do anything about it until you smack them in the mouth. That's how it works.
And by the way, just last point on this, and we do have to segue, but there are plenty of countries around the world, including Western Europe, where there are flag burning laws. This isn't some like crazy tyrannical thing,
super draconian law.
super, no one's ever said this before. I mean, you could pull up the list, and then people have in the comments. Just it's country after country after country do actually criminalize this.
But just because they do it, is that okay to do it here?
Yes.
I'm not making.
I know you know that. I'm asking Jack.
In this case,
Just because it's okay in other countries, that that's a precedent for us to hear and make that law.
I'm not saying that's the only reason. I spent a long time explaining why I think it's a good reason, but I'm also pointing out why that other people agree with it as well.
Yeah.
That it's not draconian.
I just think it's a weak measure, and we have way bigger things to be fighting that I wish this administration would go after. And this is like a small distraction, giving you guys some fast food meals to cheer about. Whereas I want to go after things that really like. He promised to obliterate the deep state. What's happening with that?
Yeah,
Tulsi Gabbard just said she's firing 50% of the like IC.
Yeah, I get it. But like, there's big things like the Epstein files.
That's big?
I think that's big, but I think there's something beyond just that. It's just staffers. I'm thinking,
I hear this a lot, and I understand. Trump's supposed to be going after the deep state and these.
Well, he campaigned on it.
Yeah, and these,
and there always could
these
be more
100-year
things.
positions.
Like,
we only have so much time. We only have so much time.
Every single time this guy drafts legislation about anything, anytime he makes an executive order about anything, even small, to try to make some kind of change, it's his own side. The guys who want to dismantle the deep state, who go after him the hardest, who curtail and hamstring him from doing anything.
Because it was the deep state that tried assassinating him.
Pass something about a flag. What do you think he's going to do to the deep state?
Exactly. I don't think anything's going to happen.
Well, I would argue though. I mean, I would argue that I think the difference here is that it's short term versus long term. I think these are long term plays and long term investments that are being made now. Flag burning, crime is both short term and long term. Mm-hmm. But you're also pointing out some things that, hey, we'd like to see some movement here, and here. And
midterms are on the horizon.
Midterms are certainly on the horizon.
Don't know what's going to happen in 2028.
And the point being is, if you don't have that much time, why wouldn't you want to make long-term investments?
Yeah, I do want to make long-term investments, but I hope we're actually making them.
Agreed.
In terms of these big plays.
I think protecting the flag and setting the course of the nation for children is really important.
Okay, I want to protect the children. I don't think the flag does it.
I mean, yeah.
I think all of it was important. The two genders via executive order. I think that was important. That's a long-term investment that you're talking about.
Thanks for checking out this clip from TimcastIRL. Make sure to watch the show live.
That clip was from TimcastIRL. Go subscribe to TimcastIRL. Next one's from The Crucible. Definitely go subscribe to The Crucible. Get a lot better stuff there than you will on Timcast, but subscribe to both.
How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots, drones.
Who builds all the drones?
Somebody built some drone that builds more drones.
Who builds them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men. Who builds all the weapons? Men. Who knows how to use all the weapons? Men. Who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not
it's always men.
100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
So the thing is like utilizing this idea that, feminists want this for women. Feminists also want to deconstruct patriarchal systems.
Right.
So let me give you a logical argument here. okay, that I'd like you to respond to. How can feminists do that without appealing to the patriarchy? How can they take down the patriarchy without then appealing to the patriarchy in an infinite regress?
How do you mean?
Well, I would argue that men have the monopoly on force.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, they have the monopoly on force, and they always will have the monopoly on force. My proof and evidence is half of the world. Half of the world right now, if they decide women are, and did, they were. And women could never appeal to anybody except men for their rights because they don't have force. So because that's true, you tell me how it is that women, feminists, how it's actually logical for them to say we're going to dismantle the patriarchy, even though via the force metric, they're going to infinitely have to appeal to it for their rights.
So you're saying, like, if all men wanted to, women, like, they would be able to do it because men are stronger than women, etc.
Like half the world.
Right. But he
so
gave
it,
sort of,
it presupposes how most of the observable world actually operates.
in that respect, and that's not what I'm taking issue with. The part that I'm taking issue with is just that it would break along these lines very neatly.
No. That's not the argument.
I think they're trying to get around to it, but they're definitely having some issues with the Zionism over at the Crucible. I've seen a couple of debates where he's kind of bringing it up. He's still on board with the platform of Republicanism, though. So I'm kind of at the point now where I think we need another party because I'm just not on board with all this shit no more. So I'm independent.
But what he presented to you is just that it would be like saying, like, if you have a group of people whose names start with the letter A, and then you have all the people whose names start with the letter B to Z, and all of those people work together to overcome the people whose names start with A, then yes, almost by definition, they would be able to, like, overcome the people with A, probably.
No. Well, yes, but also no. So let's caveat a few things. First and foremost, do you agree with me that there have been many revolutionary fights and revolts?
Yes.
Okay. Can you name any of them that were led or fought by women ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
Ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
One time in history?
No, I don't believe so.
So then what's going on
Boudica.
is that...
Boudica, the Celts, they fought the Romans.
No,
Yeah,
that was
Boudica.
men, guarantee it.
No,
we can
Boudica
look it up.
was a queen.
I mean, like, they were
having
a queen.
Hang on. Having a queen there doesn't mean that the people who have the monopoly on force weren't men, because it's always men who have the monopoly on force. And so the reason she can't point to any time ever in history that's revolts and things like this were ever in operation by women. Women can never successfully take their freedom back from a patriarchal. Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
I was waiting for Ian to use that Black Lady movie where they're out in the jungles, like taking out the men, thinking it's real, or Wakanda or some shit.
They can never take their freedom back from a patriarchal force without appealing to a patriarchal force. Ever. Not that queen, not any queen, not any person ever in the history of all of mankind.
Like you said, because it hasn't happened, it can't happen.
It can't.
But that's saying the only justification is because it hasn't happened yet.
In the history of the world, it has never happened. That is kind of evidence that it's probably not going to happen.
No, the justification is that men are much, much stronger than women.
But guns are
overwhelmingly
for that purpose.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Sorry,
let's get 10 women in a room and hand them a magazine and watch what happens.
But the great equalizer, the ballistic, is
it's not a great equalizer.
Just
Ian.
like with
Ian has never seen the videos of the crazy police officer ladies getting their guns taken away from them and chasing guys down and they're just knocking them around. He's never seen this. He still thinks if you put a gun in their hand, they're capable. I've seen women shoot men on accident because they have a gun in their hand. It's not a good thing.
The monkeys, the biggest, strongest monkey would be the alpha.
What happens is with these equalizers is men take the equalization away from women because they're much stronger, which is why you see all these police officers getting disarmed and women in combat getting their ass stomped. That's why you don't see female Navy SEALs. That's why you don't see any of that, because they can't do it. They're physically incapable of doing it. Now, even if I grant you an outlier, even if I grant you G.I. Jane, who never came to fruition, G.I. Jane never existed, never came to fruition because they can't do it. But even if I granted you a G.I. Jane, an outlier, the exception would prove the rule. So the thing is like the reason she can't name a single time that there's been a successful revolt or women gaining their rights by force from men without appealing to men is because it's never happened and it can't. So because of that, my argument is simply this. How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots.
Yeah. I'm going to let that sit for a second. There could be robots. As if women make robots.
Okay. Yeah. There could be laser beams.
They can't even write about robots. Look at Star Wars.
From outer
An
space.
enforcement arm that is not human male. Is that you're asking?
I can logically grant that a powerful, all-powerful gray alien species comes down here.
Drones.
And then you're appealing to the gray alien species to control the men.
For a type of force other than the human male that could be appealed to. I'm talking
who builds
about
all the drones,
robots
Ian?
and ballistics.
Who builds all the drones?
At this point, more drones.
Who builds them?
Somebody built some drone that builds more drones.
Who builds them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men.
Could be men. Could
Who
be
builds
women.
all the weapons? Men. Who knows how to use all the weapons? Men. Who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not a 100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
But not the majority.
Well,
they're unique. Not everybody's the same, but they're more
Ian,
outliers.
how come these badass women don't go, hey, I'm tired of wearing this really hot in the middle of this sun, and we got millions of us, so we're just going to take out this patriarchy. Why not?
Well, they are stripping their off in Iran.
They're and appealing to men to come in and help them.
Yeah, I mean, ballistic force, appealing to the force, basically.
Appealing to the force.
And
force doctrine, unbeatable, always appealing to the patriarchy. So answer me this question. How is it that women, feminists, how is it even a logical position to say that you want to repeal the patriarchy with full knowledge that you'll always have to appeal to the patriarchy in order to enforce your deconstruction of the patriarchy? It's the most circular, stupid thing I've ever heard.
I think you have to appeal to force to
and who has the monopoly on that?
The current state, the human male.
Okay, so right this very second, if women want to deconstruct the patriarchy, who do they have to appeal to?
Right. Yeah.
Men.
Yeah.
Can you steal Ian's argument?
Yeah. Ian is saying, what if there was some technological marvel that equalized force?
Like guns.
I thought the sense that I got from your arguments is that right now the domain of force is, and this is your view as well.
Guns don't equalize force for women. That's a misconception.
One that is overwhelmingly dictated by, supported by, and led by men. But there exists a world, potentially, where women could get access to this domain of force that either, I don't even think you're saying entirely excludes, but leads them to have an upper hand over men. Yeah. Right? Because you're saying all of this technology is basically the great equalizer, because between drones, tanks, guns, etc., if it's just a matter of...
Yeah, where?
What? No, I don't think that you're saying it's happened yet, but you're saying that we can't just say because it hasn't happened yet that it necessarily won't in the future.
And this all stuff originated, a lot of these weaponry that I'm talking about originated because we had alpha male saying no one can stop me, I'm the biggest, strongest.
I'll tell you what,
it's not the strongest that survives, it's the one that's the most adaptable.
I'll tell you what, then advocate for feminism in 200 years where it's possible, but it's definitely not right now. There's no world right this second which exists or has in the last 7,000 years where women can do anything but address their grievances to those who have the monopoly on force. That's always men. So you're necessarily always going to have a patriarchy. It's a vicious circle.
That's the fallacy. Saying it always happened, therefore it will always happen is a misnomer.
I said appeal for it in 200 years then when it does happen. Or if we were asking about logical possibility, remember, Superman's logically possible. I can grant a logical possibility where aliens come down and put shock collars on men, and if they look at women cross-eyed, they get zapped. That's logical. It could happen. Its possibility pragmatically is like zero, though. So because of that, I'm going to look at this from pragmatic logic, practical logic. If I'm looking at pragmatic and practical logic, Ian, I'm going to ask you again right this second, if men want to appeal anything by power of law, who do they have to appeal to enforce it?
If women want to.
If women do. Women do.
Yeah, generally the government, which is usually run by men.
Who's the enforcement, though?
Yeah, cops.
It's going to be men.
Usually men.
It's always
big, strong, buff dudes.
Everywhere men. And if men decide to collectively women tomorrow, let's just say they did.
No, that I don't agree with.
Okay, I'm not saying that you agree that it's morally correct. I'm asking whether or not they could do it.
They could try, and then other men would stand up to defend against it.
So who are you appealing to again?
Still.
We would be appealing to ourselves.
You'd be appealing to men again.
It would be men and women.
What you just got done saying
is
if men came in and they tried women, men would stop them.
And women would stop them, and probably kids would stop them too.
Yeah, but who would those women and kids be appealing to for force?
They're rifle. They're what are you talking about?
Men. They'd be appealing to the men.
If a bunch of dudes came to the women in your neighborhood, and you and your wife and your kids grabbed their rifles You would all be appealing to what? Are you talking? There's no
They'd
appeal.
be appealing to the men.
You'd be to God. Your right to self-defense.
Can
What are you talking
I just say, if someone comes after me and they have a gun, I'm going to look to my husband with the gun. I mean, I might have the gun, but I'm going to look to my husband to protect me.
Hang on.
All women are. Every fucking woman alive is. And the women that don't have men are going to go looking for simp men, the guys on their friend list to come defend them.
Ian.
There gets to a point where he's going to hand you a rifle because the two of you are better shots than one of you.
Yeah, so 300 men, they invade a suburban neighborhood that has 700 women in it. Are they going to win?
What is the situation? So you're
That's
in a walled
just 700 women.
compound that is only
No,
700
women and they're in a suburban neighborhood, and 300 men come in there, and they're like, we're taking this shit.
Are the women strapped?
They're both strapped.
They're all strapped. Probably 700 people are going to wipe those dudes out.
Oh, come on, Ian.
They can shoot from windows. These guys are walking down streets.
Oh,
what
Ian.
a tactical disadvantage. Are they trainers? Who are these men?
Yeah, okay. Ian,
just random
let's find
men?
out. Let's find out if this is true.
50 dudes who are armed could easily take, I'd say 1,000 women. Just 50 armed men, and you could have the women be armed. It still wouldn't matter.
Let's just take a logical exercise here. You are a prison warden, and you're offered two choices for those who can guard your prisoners. You'll either get twice the women or half the men to guard these prisoners. Now, these are the worst prisoners on planet Earth. They're big, they're mean, they're strong, and they're awful. Now, remember, you're going to get 2 women for every 1 male guard. Which one are you going to choose?
The men.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So anyway, back to the debate.
They're not shooting, dude. If you want to give me 700 rifles and you take 300 rifles, I'll take 700 rifles.
Okay. How about
if your guys are trained Navy SEALs?
What if I give you 3
argument.
women per 1 man?
Are they armed? What
yes.
are you talking about?
Hang on. All things are equal.
In
In the guard towers, you can still have some women who are armed. The ones who have to patrol the floor.
That's a good point, Crossland Row. I was just about to say that. Like, I went to police academies with women twice, 2 different police academies. And on the first day, we had to teach the women how to load their weapons because they don't want to go learn it. They're not interested in that. They're not going to do that in their spare time, even if they know it's a necessity, because these women knew this was going to be their future job. They didn't even look into how to load the gun. We had to wait until the first day of the range to teach these women who are going to be future police officers how to load their guns. Yeah, they're just not good at shooting, and they're not going to be. They're timid. They're afraid. They've been trained their whole life not to like that kind of shit. They're not gonna like it. It's just too late. It's just too late.
Though
look, if I need dudes in hand-to-hand combat, that's its own thing. But if I need guards with guns, I'm gonna take triple the guns. What are you?
Yeah, in the towers, you're gonna take guards in the tower, triple the tower. I get it, but who's walking the floor, Ian?
Put some, I don't know, big burly dudes down there.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's not the argument. Your argument is that men can arbitrarily women because they're stronger. I mean, it's the most like black and white, like lack of evidence.
Let me ask you a question.
That's why we built guns to defend against that mentality.
Help me out. There's never been a female revolution ever using physical force against men, which has ever been successable or even really tried.
The French Revolution,
which was full of men who
was started by women, dude.
Who was taking the men to the guillotines?
Who got the weapons out of the Bastille? It was the women,
bro. Who was using them?
They all did.
No, it was the men, dude.
Are you unfamiliar with the women that started the French Revolution?
Ian, let's walk through the French Revolution. Who was taking the people to the guillotines?
I mean, I wasn't there.
Men.
You're saying 100% men? Is this your argument? It was all men.
Almost, yeah.
No women, all men.
Yeah, basically all men.
I cannot believe that's an extreme.
I'll tell you what. I'll just grant it. It's 5% women.
Dude, the women started the revolution, bro. Do you not know that?
I'll just grant it for you that it's 5% women
the women started the communist revolution in Russia, too.
Yeah, so what? It has nothing to do with force doctrine.
Overthrow of the government, bro.
Nothing to do.
You just said there was no successful revolution started by women ever.
No. With physical force.
That was the French Revolution.
No,
what are you talking?
dude.
They robbed the bank. Sorry to interrupt. Make your point.
Let's pretend for a second that you have 8,000 women in cages. Okay? Who are, and then you have masters. Okay? Can we point to instances in history where those all men who are in cages, right, have successfully overthrown their oppressors?
You said there's women in cages?
No, men.
Okay, so there's 800 men.
There's 8,000 men in cages.
8,000 men in cages.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been an instance in history where they've overthrown the dudes without external help?
No. Well, yeah, even without external help.
Not that I know of. I mean, people in cages, they're in cages.
The answer.
Men escape from prisons all the time. We have them all the time. Women don't escape that often because they don't even try.
Yes, there has been many rebellions which were successful, led by men, of all men. Not a single one by women. Hang on. Ever. Not a single one will you ever be able to point to historically where women were en masse by men and ever were able to successfully use force, stop, Ian, to get out of their... Not once. They always have to appeal to males. Always, which is why when I gave her the example, she was forced to agree. There's no choice around it. You always have to appeal to male force. There's no way around it. You're talking about women using like loudspeakers and propaganda to start fights, sure, but they're not fighting the fights, is my point. They're always appealing to people who can. That's the point. And so if it's the patriarchy that we're talking about, it's always going to be those who have a monopoly on force. So women, these feminists, are always going to have to appeal to those who have the monopoly on force, thus creating a new patriarchy. It's just like an over and over and over again cyclical. It's just cyclical logic. It's bizarre. It makes no sense.
But I just don't think that the monopoly on force equals male necessarily.
Yeah, it equals male.
It usually does because men are physically stronger. But then we built guns. Yeah. It's a relatively new invention, and now you started to see like even men kind of don't have a monopoly on force. Like we have robots that can drone. Like we don't.
The robots, I'm sorry. Do robots operate and build themselves or something?
Well, not yet. But we're starting to lose the monopoly on force as human men.
No, we're not.
I mean, dude, a whole village can get blown up by an airplane.
Yeah, you're talking about like clean warfare. Like largely, a lot of it's happening from like the sky because you have people just piloting drones. You don't have men like rushing out into war.
Who flies that airplane, Ian? Do the ladies fly that? I don't think a lot of ladies are doing a lot of flying
anymore. Yeah. Like always.
Or unless you're in the Ukraine.
Well, probably they're doing a little too much flying after that helicopter crash.
And you're in trenches and you're fighting combat, and the women all fled. They all fled. Women all fled. They're all in different countries. They got the out of there. They hightailed it. They're not in the trenches fighting, Ian. How come? That's really weird.
I'm not there, man.
That's really weird. Where are all these?
I thought your point was that we're largely moving away from like this sort of trench warfare or whatever.
But
yeah,
we're
exactly.
Not.
And we're starting to move towards like informational warfare, drone warfare, AI warfare, etc.
There will always be trench warfare. There will always be guys getting up in each other's faces. But yeah, ballistics have.
So what do you do when your side doesn't have any guys, Ian?
Altered the way force is wielded and the way monopoly is drawn.
Oh yeah, is that so?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. All things equal between a man and a woman, right? You give them both a gun, right? One of them has to watch your back. Who you picking?
It's such a vague question. I don't know them.
You don't know
who
them.
Are they?
I agree, Mr. Nageo. I liked Adam. I thought he was like the best part of the show back in the day. And whenever they took him away, Ian was kind of like, you know, it wasn't as good, but he was at least funny. He makes a lot of stupid comments for everybody to laugh at. So I kind of enjoyed him a little bit. So I'm giving him a little bit of grace here, but he is kind of dumb. You're right.
You're just going to pick two. It's going to be completely random. You're going to push a button. It's going to be a random woman or a random man who shows up with a gun to watch your back. Which button you pushing, Ian?
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Just pick the guy and get it over with?
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
right.
if Kamala Harris
That's
had become
right.
president? Who would have had the monopoly on force?
It's still always going to defer to the enforcement arm. They're always going to have the monopoly on force.
Sorry, you said they always look to their leader, right? They look to the one to lead them.
You
Who
can
would be
look,
leading them?
Here's the thing. You can look to leadership unless you get to overthrow.
Well, now you're just saying that leadership doesn't matter, and that's dismantles your initial argument that people.
Not saying leadership doesn't matter. I'm saying that men always have an option of force to change leadership, and women don't.
Yeah, that argument is saying then leadership doesn't matter.
No,
because we can just overthrow it anyway. So it always comes back to whoever
men
wants it.
Can overthrow it.
I don't know.
Not women.
Women can also overthrow.
No, they can't.
People with weapons can overthrow systems of humans.
Yeah. Then when's the last time women did that? Ever?
I just said they can. I didn't say they did.
They can't.
I said they can.
They can't. And they don't have the physical prowess to do it. If
Kamala had been the president and the issue for the drone, it would have been much easier for a female to take some physical. Like I don't want to dominate this combo. But I think
she's going to use drones that men built in order.
The only way you could get women to have a force equal to men, not even equal, but still, even in the ballpark where they could do something like that, you would have to start giving them duties because women have been babied into being like they are. That's the reason they don't want to learn about guns. They don't have to. They have someone to protect them already. So until you take that away from them, they're never going to learn how to do this shit on their own because they're never going to have to. And if you don't have to, why would you?
To dominate her enemies.
Yeah, that's adaptability.
Yeah, what's gonna happen is this, is that if men want to change the conditionals of the state they're in, they have the option to, and women don't. And that's a fact. And so the thing is that if men universally decide that they're going to women, there isn't a thing in the world women can do about it. But if portions of men decide that they're going men, there is something men can do about it.
But the thing, no,
yeah, that's the most historically accurate fact on planet Earth.
Yeah, but you're saying if this total incapable
no,
thing,
no, right
all men
now
are
is not
if all men come together.
Not all men.
This
even
is your position.
If it's the case that in the Middle East, the Middle Easterners want women, didn't they already do that?
Yeah, but that's
how come
different.
Why
you're
didn't
talking about the theocracy, the Iranian theocracy?
So yeah, well, any place you want to look at across the world where women are second-class citizens, can women do about that without appealing to men?
I don't know, but the point that you made is
that...
to
answer the question, can women do...
I can answer the question any way I want to answer the question.
Yeah, but you have to actually answer the question I'm asking.
No, I don't have to.
I've never seen Ian get that mad before.
I can answer whatever I want.
I mean, you can obfuscate.
I want. If you don't like it, that's still my answer.
Oh, okay. Well, then your answer is I don't like your question.
You like gish gallop 3 questions in a row.
I didn't gish gallop anything.
I'm trying to disprove your first point.
I'm asking
2 questions about
I'm only asking
the Middle Eastern
one question
women.
I want actually answered.
Give it to me again.
Okay. The question I want answered is right this second in the Middle East. Okay. If women wanted to determine to get their rights back themselves, right, without appealing to men, can they do it or not?
They'd have to appeal to like an external authority, similar to the American revolutionaries. They couldn't do it alone. They had to appeal to the French. Like when you're under the boot, it's hard to get out without appealing to, but it doesn't have to be a man. It could be a queen, you know.
What woman army are they going to get to come defend them, Ian?
Oh, Queen Elizabeth or whatever. It could have been.
Or you got to flip people. You got to find defectors, like male defectors that are willing to fight on their side.
Males again.
Simps.
Back to males again.
Well, I mean, females make the best spies.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you're always appealing to those pesky men for force, and there's nothing you can do about it. Every single time. And that's why force doctrine's an unbeatable position, because it's the observable fact of the world.
That I agree with. Force doctrine, yeah. But I don't think it always has to be a male in control of it.
But it is always men who are in control of it.
Queen Elizabeth is an example of someone that was a dominating military force. That was not
of who? Dominating military force made up of which sex?
All of them.
Men
and their wives, and they were the dude go out on the
boats.
If
we look up, let's look at. Can we find out what percentage of her military was men, real quick?
Yeah, but dude, earlier you were talking about how people appeal to their leader, like the masculine. That you're always going to appeal
about
to
who can change the conditionals of their leader.
The argument that strength gives you primary control is a fallacy. It is adaptability. Strength.
What's the fallacy?
That the stronger you are, the more likely you are to be in control.
That's not fallacious.
No, strength has diminishing return.
Yeah, but
and it also makes you a target.
But that's not a logically fallacious argument. That would be a proposition. And so the thing is that propositionally, there's no fallacy there to make that statement, especially if it's observably true, and it is.
No.
Yes.
The strongest men are often the easiest to destroy.
Sure, by other men.
By guns, by people with guns. I'm not talking.
Wielded by men.
Hand-to-hand combat, dude. It still exists. But that age of like men can their woman until she does what he says is gone. I mean, you technically can, but there are cameras on you now.
Do guns require hand strength?
A little.
Yeah. Do they require you to be able to carry a lot of equipment with you? Do you have to feed yourself? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. You don't have to. Well, yeah. If you're going to use guns for the purpose of combat, you're going to be carrying a kit. You're going to be carrying a kit. You're going to be carrying food. You're going to be carrying all sorts of other equipment. Not to mention that
you just carry in Florida.
You're going to carry 300, 400 rounds of ammunition. You're going to carry it in a chest rig. Then you're going to carry a sidearm on top of that. Then you're going to have your helmet on. Then you're going to have body armor. You're going to have all this stuff.
I'm talking about carrying. But in Florida, bro. In your belt, on your holster. That's all you got.
That's not joining the military. That's not collective defense, or it's not collective assault. That's not how that works.
This, what I'm about to do here,
that's for another day. Let me get out of that one.
How do feminists ever take out the...
All right. That's where I'm going to cut it today, because I got to get some more rest and get some flu medicine in me. I will see y'all tomorrow, though. And tomorrow, I'm hoping to be in a lot better shape than I was in today. Like, with any luck. Like, pray for me. But let's reconvene this tomorrow because I'm just feeling like shit. Me too. And I will see y'all tomorrow, man. I'm not telling y'all to get your flu shots, but I wish I got mine. Oh my god, miserable, worse than COVID. Anyway, peace. I will see y'all tomorrow.